Welcome back. All right, so in the last video we took care of the magic cats and kobolds, and now we're going to go head back up and solve a puzzle and meet some birds. So we're going to use the Rosymorn Monastery waypoint. It's a little quicker than walking, and head back up to where we fought the cats. And we'll jump the gap. And as we head in, we're going to go up instead of down. So we'll head right back to where we were. And rather than going down to see the kobolds, we'll go up these routes.
That might be worth a look.
And there's a little dig spot. I think I mentioned that in the last video. We get some experience for climbing up here. And we could have jumped up through this hole. This is where the door that we unlocked with the axe was. And we've got the last bit of equipment for our puzzle is being guarded by these two eagles. So we're going to have everybody go into stealth mode.
I can be subtle sometimes. I don't
And we'll take Alfira. And we'll head up to this platform. We've got a clean shot on the eagles from here. We've also got some candles left. We'll grab one and put it down. We can use candles, especially when we're setting up for a combat. They add a little bit of extra damage. So we'll make sure that we've got our ranged weapon selected. Dip our weapon. And we're just going to start shooting at the ancient giant eagle. And we got a couple shots off. It definitely felt that. And we'll use our slashing flourish to shoot twice more. And we missed one. Now, we've got a surprise round, so we're going to want to add our other combatants in before we lose the round. So we'll have Lizelle come sneaking up these routes here, and we're going to come up on the side. And again, because she throws things and sometimes they don't return correctly when we use them to initiate combat, we're going to use our offhand attack. And we'll just shoot the other eagle. But that puts us into combat.
What's cooking?
We'll do the same thing with Karlach.
Whisper mode.
I think Karlach has the funniest things that she says when she sneaks around, right? The sort of shadow lack or halfling energy. So she's going to do the same thing. She's going to shoot at the closest eagle. It doesn't really matter how much damage we do. We're just trying to get into combat. All right, so now that we're involved, we're going to throw our returning pike. And our primary target's going to be the ancient giant eagle. It's going to summon allies. We don't really care very much about the experience they grant. The eagles that the ancient giant eagle summons actually are worth experience, which is super weird. Usually summoned creatures are not, but this eagles are. But we are not farming the 30 or 40 experience that these things are worth. So we'll just try to remove it as a combatant. And we miss the first attack. But we hit the second. And that's her full round.
Nothing important is ever easy.
We'll take a look at Lizelle and
On the
reposition.
move.
Lizelle is much more accurate with her shots.
Taking
95% chance to hit. And takes the eagle out. We've got another throw. And that's our round.
Come on. Can't stay idle.
Okay, so surprise round over. Let's see if our main character's got a shot on the eagle. We do. We could get closer. We have a very high strength, so we can jump pretty far. So we'll go ahead and jump nearer so that we're not at disadvantage when we fire. So shot number 1 and shot number 2. And that's it. So eagles are pretty easy if you surprise them. If you walk up and chat with them, they're very territorial. They'll get upset and try to stop you. There's a jaybird down coming down the trail that will actually ask you to kill them and will tell you where you can dig up some loot if you're successful, but the loot's not worth getting for this particular run. What we're here for is this ceremonial warhammer. We'll pick that up. While we're up here, we'll cast Featherfall and Enhanced Sleep. And we'll jump. And what we're headed for over here is a helm that's in a chest on the far side. So coming over here, there's a chest, and we can grab that. Across the way, there's a burial site for a guy with a mace that we could use also in the quest, but we have already found the mace. It was on one of the kobolds. So having completed that, we'll head back over. And back up to the top. We'll reconvene our group and head down the routes that are past the nest onto the second level. And we're going to head over to this door and through it. So there's a room that's being guarded right here by a permanent spirit guardian. So we're going to select our main character, and whether we make the perception check or not, this wall is always going to be something that we can damage. And we'll just shoot it until it falls down. And we can see inside that there's this Guardian of Faith. Now, it can't move. That's the interesting thing about Guardians of Faith, is that they're completely immobile. So we're just going to stand out here and shoot at it until it dies. And you can see it's got a really, really high armor class. So it's pretty difficult to hit. And the computer keeps resetting your point of view, which is not helpful, but so we'll leave double shot on, and we're just going to shoot inside. Karlach doesn't have a very high chance to hit, but it's more than 0, so we're going to just try to continue plinking it until it falls down. And the same with Lazelle, also using hand crossbows. And we actually did hit it. That's great. And we'll see that it doesn't move. It's not going to go anywhere. This fight has no risk associated with it. It can't hurt us as long as we don't step next to it.
Watch this. Say bye-bye.
Victory awaits.
Yep, and so we'll just continue shooting it until it falls down. It's not very exciting. We got pretty lucky on hitting it with non-archer characters, the lower dex characters. So we're going to head into the room, and what we're coming in here for is this ceremonial battle axe, which we need to solve the puzzle.
What's hiding here?
And then we've got a chest as well that we can grab. And if we wanted to, we can get out here onto the extra area and run around, but we're not going to. There's no reason to come out here.
Another step forward.
So we're going to have the party come back the way we came. Here are the routes that we climbed down to get here. And we're going to head deeper in. And we've got to jump this little gap. And we come into this room with a puzzle. The key to the puzzle is on the floor. There's a secret area right here. It's a pretty low perception check, so we can actually just discover it and lockpick it if we want, although the lockpick check is pretty high. But we've got the knock spell, so if we chose to do so, we could just open this. We're not going to do that, though, because we've got the ceremonial weapons that we can just place down. So we'll just drop those on the ground, so they're easy to find. Now we can look at the stained glass window and we can see that this is where the ceremonial warhammer goes. The mace is going to go over here. We found a book when we found the mace, and then in the grave of Dawnmaster Seed we would also find a mace, which by elimination means the battle axe goes on the opposite side. So we'll grab the warhammer and move it. Evidently too far for us to move. So we'll move it onto the platform. You see it lights up, so we know it's in the right spot. We'll take the battle axe and throw it over here. That's not where it goes. The mace is the one that goes over here. And then we'll grab the mace and throw it onto the top. I'm going to block target. Probably I'm too far away. So we'll move closer. We'll grab the mace and throw it onto there. We get a second light. Grab the battle axe. And put it up. And we get a buff called Morning Lord's Radiance, which means that our weapon attacks are going to do a little more damage. And we've opened up this secret area where we find the Dawnmaster's crest and some instructions. And that's going to update Finding the Blood of Lathander. We can also jump out here and climb up, and there's a chest. There's a key here if we want to grab it. We don't need to worry about any of that stuff. It's not particularly important. These are +1 weapons. If we were planning on using them, we're not. So that's really all there is to do for this section. So we're going to head back to the Rosymorn Monastery waypoint, and we're going to further explore. Now, there's 2 ways into Rosymorn. I'll show you both. So we're going to cast Jump and Leap on Lizelle and grab just her because she can get around pretty well. I probably should have tried to just jump on top. Let's see if we can make this jump. Doesn't look like it wants us to jump up here, but we'll give it a shot. There we go. And we'll recast. This isn't the way that we're actually going to go in, but it's worth showing you.
Not a single act wasted.
So we're going to jump way down here, and we could get there from where the guardian spirit is like kind of over here. And if we just walk over and down these stairs and jump down, we'll find this area.
Keep them busy. Thunder, forgive me. We
Got
have to
some
fire the
regular
rockets.
barrels. And this barricade. And you can see we're doing a little extra radiant damage. And coming through here leads us past where the rockfall
I'm
was.
suddenly intrigued.
We can also open the front gates of the monastery. We get a little
The
experience for coming
artifact
down
of
here,
feeling
and the
stirs.
artifact starts getting panicky.
Uncertainty.
So over here we've got some
Your
potions and
curiosity is
things, a
getting the
scroll of
better of
gust to
you.
wind. We might even be able
Do
to
not
grab it
let
without
it.
even opening the case.
Stay away from the
Yep.
Githyanki.
And our
They're
Dream
hunting
Guardian
you.
is sort of saying,
They
don't
want
go
the
in.
artifact. They'll stop at nothing to take it from you.
She's panicked, and if we go looking down here, there's a path down, and that's going to lead us to the entry to the Githyanki crash. So we're not actually going to take that path in, this door right here. So the monastery basement, this is where all the Githyanki are at, but we're not going to go in that way. We're going to head back to Rosy Morn and connect our group again, and we're going to head over to where the front gates are. And there's a big outcropping. Now, there's another way to get to this location as well. So this path is just a little faster. We could go way over to the burial site and kind of climb down the whole way. But instead, we're just going to cast Featherfall and jump down. Because the creche has a back door. So we can loot on the way. We can climb down these things. Again, we're not going to do that. We can see the door right here, labeled Hidden Passage. You see, we got a little experience just dropping down here. And come on, Karlak, what are you doing here? There we go. All right, so we're going to go in and talk to a bunch of Gith. So we'll go ahead and disguise ourselves as one of them. The door is locked, but the lockpicking difficulty is low. So we're only looking for a 10. We'll cast Guidance. And we have a lot of lockpicks, so no worry about that. So we unlock the door, and we walk right in. Get a little more experience for coming in.
On my way.
And we're just going to walk boldly in. We are with a true Gith. We look like a Gith, so it should be no problem.
Where did you... Ah, you are kin. State your purpose.
We'll just let Lazelle answer.
I must speak with your Gustil. Our queen's protocol demands it.
Report to the infirmary. Gustil Stornagos will see to you.
All right. And if we take a look, we got some experience for that, which is the experience for these guards. So we've already effectively defeated them. Fighting them again doesn't really net us anything except what they're carrying. Right when we come in, this door is going to open, and the quartermaster for the Gith is going to come in. And we'll do a little trading with her before we get underway.
Ugh, blood, rust, squar. Is there no odious substance not smeared on this delivery? The filth of these people. Unbelievable.
So we'll ask to trade.
Impressive? Not the word I would use, but to each their own.
And we'll just sort by value. So we're going to end up killing this Gith, as well as pretty much every other Gith in this area. And she's going to drop some of her loot, but she has so much valuable loot that we won't be able to get all of it. So we've got lots of options. We would really like the Gloves of Dexterity. These will set your Dexterity to 18. This will make even Karlak or Lazal a pretty good archer. It's worth getting arrows of many targets at any time that you can, so we'll grab all of them. And she'll probably end up dropping much of the rest of this. These gloves are pretty good for will. They add +1 to ranged spell attack rolls. They also have an ability to make it so that you don't take disadvantage when trying to shoot someone right next to you with your ranged attack, but the real bonus is the +1 to spell attack rolls. At this point, Will is still not very accurate with his agonizing blast, and this sort of thing will help. So it's essentially the equivalent of putting a +1 weapon in Will's hand. This Unseen Menace is really an interesting item because it has advantage on attacks with it until you miss. So the weapon is invisible, so you attack with advantage until you miss, and then it resets to just a regular +1 weapon. Really great if you're playing something like a paladin or a martial character that's in melee a lot who really is looking to fish for critical hits. That's not our build, so we're less concerned with it, but it's a great item. These Vital Conduit boots are pretty good, and because it's the valuable items that get dropped, these probably won't be in the drops for her, so we'll pick them up. They allow you to get some temporary hit points, and they add to athletics, and we'll be making a lot of athletics checks throughout the game, so they're pretty good. We have a ton of money, so it doesn't really matter how much this stuff costs. We're just going to buy it anyway. Now, we could make a business
If you
out
find
of...
anything worthwhile that isn't covered in Skvar, do let me know.
Right on. We could make a business out of killing a bunch of the Gith and selling their equipment back to her. She doesn't seem to care that, where would we have come up with 10 suits of Githyanki armor. But we're probably not going to do that. So to quickly run through the areas here, we've got main hallway, the Gith Egg chamber, the medical center and lodgings, training center, the front door, and the area where the sub-boss and major boss are found. So we're going to start off with the easy experience, the non-combat experience. So we're going to head into this room, the egg chamber, and right over here we're going to see a note that we can read, and this tells us why this guy is hanging on. So he's trying to watch this final egg. At this point in time, we'll split off, and we're going to run over and chat with him. And we're going to use Alfira to do this because Alfira has the best charisma options, and this is going to be a charisma check. So we'll head right up to him and say hello.
You can tell Kithrak Therazin that my position has not changed. The egg requires more time. Furthermore... you are not from Kreshilek. What are you doing here?
So we can ask about the egg.
There is little to be curious about. It is taking its time hatching, nothing more. Most caretakers would not give the child its fair chance. But I shall. There could be greatness in that shell.
You note that the hope in his voice is tinged with weariness. It's the voice of a man who's fought the inevitable for a long time.
So we can try the persuasion check to ask about the dud egg. We can ask what will happen if it doesn't hatch. We could say it's a lot of fuss. We'll ask what happens if it doesn't hatch.
Kithrak Therazin will give orders to destroy it. She will say it's a weakling. I'll give it a while longer. And if it doesn't hatch, it will have proven her right.
So we're going to say that we can take care of it. So we could also try to deceive, but we'll try to persuade. So here, we can use friends on this particular guy because we're not going to be in this room for very long. So we'll go ahead and use friends. It's a free option. We could also just use guidance. We have a lot of inspiration we haven't used, and it would be relatively easy to make the check. So we're adding, in that case, 11 to 14 for a DC 18 check. So either would be good. Friends is all right if we plan on leaving right away. We say we make the check with even a pretty low roll.
You? You've no Varsh instincts about you at all. Still, the captain's due for an inspection any day now. And if she sees it here... Tell me, what will you do with it if I entrust it to you?
We'll just choose the Githyanki option.
Not an easy task. And far harder without a creche to train it in. But you've a spirit about you that's quite inspiring. Perhaps even equal to the challenge. I can no longer ignore that Kithrak Therazin's patience has its limits. Very well. Here. Take these. They will aid your approach to the egg.
And that's it, and he reveals all the traps, and we'll go ahead and map travel to Kreshyelik before Friends expires. And we can grab the rest of the party and do the same. And we'll go ahead and reselect our main character and stop concentrating on Friends. So the guy is going to get angry right away, but he's not going to see us, and by the time that we get back, he'll have forgotten about the entire affair.
Cursed to put my hands on everything.
Alright, so at this point we'll break the party apart and we'll select Lizelle, and we'll take off the spider boots and instead put on the acid resistance boots. Essentially the same thing, so we're just putting these on so that we can easily traverse another area. And we can now just run straight through this stuff.
Entirely too empty. I'd expect to see 15 eggs at the very least.
And we'll have her pick up the Githyanki Egg.
Fine Githyanki egg. At least on the outside. You can see a vague outline of something within it.
We'll touch it.
The egg is warm to the touch. The rough shell like slate beneath your fingers. Whatever is within is stirring ever so slightly.
So be kind of careful on this. Make sure that you don't end up like breaking the egg accidentally. There are options to smash it, or you might attack it by accident. That'll start a combat and kind of wrecks this particular part of the quest. So we'll pick it up and put it in our pack. If we leave the egg in Lizelle's inventory at the end of the game, then she'll actually hatch the egg, which is a fun thing for the epilogue of the game. So we'll put our party together again and head back to the Kreshyelik waypoint. And we could ask Lizelle about it.
This place is enlightening. My own creche, Kalair, is remote and sunless, cloaked in the silence of wild space. My Savage would find this one altogether too genial.
Lizelle is from space. She actually is from one of the asteroids that trails the moon. So we can ask her how it feels to be the protector of an egg.
An unhatched Githyanki egg should be the burden of a Vash, not a warrior. ascended or otherwise. And yet, I'm drawn to the warmth of it. A child of Gith and a servant of Vlaakith grows within. Keep it close. Perhaps in our care, it might yet hatch. And don't you dare pass it to that lunatic woman prowling the mountain pass.
And we'll just go ahead and leave the conversation for there. In the next video, we're going to start clearing out the Gith patrols and Gith soldiers that are here. And we will catch you in the next video. Thanks.